honor to be speaking to you today.
Thank you. The honor is mine. I'm excited. Well, I appreciate it. And I fit in there somewhere because I'm a social justice advocate.
That's exactly right.
24/7, no matter what I do.
Right. Right. So over here in the UK,
I never leave this skin.
right. So over here in the UK, it's Black History Month. October is Black History Month.
Okay.
So our theme for this year's Black History Month is saluting our sisters. So firstly, I have to say, Kim, my sister, I salute you.
Well, I really appreciate it. And you know what? I'm so glad you guys have a month with 31 days in it, as opposed to February with only 28.
You got shortchanged.
Exactly.
So I'm going to jump right in, okay?
Go for it.
So the question I'd like to ask you first is, what was the defining moment that created change for you so that you could create change for others?
If I had to go back to one moment that really was pivotal in my life, in my transformation, I would say it was when I found out that I was not what had happened to me.
Wow.
That there was a difference between what happened to me and who I actually was.
Right.
And that there was a person in there that still had value and still had worth and still could have a future, regardless of what had happened to her. And so it was that freeing up of the little girl inside that allowed me to start blossoming into this woman that I am today.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So I was in America last month. I was there for 2 months. And I was reading that in Los Angeles alone, Black women represent 9% of the women living in that county. And yet 30% of the women who die homeless are Black. So I know that Time for Change Foundation does crucial work in the area of homelessness. Tell me about your work in this arena, what inspired it, and what that situation looks like today.
Okay, so just speaking in general, because I'm here in the Inland Empire, which is like 45 minutes from deep Los Angeles, but the systemic inequalities and barriers, they cross all geographic regions. And what you will find is anything that is good, we're lagging in. Anything is bad, we're high in. That's just pretty much the nature of the systemic racism and how it's perpetuated over 400 years of oppression. But one of the things that I see most about the Black woman and being this shiro, this cape, having to go on to the bitter end, having to do without for others, and we've taken on this internal mental superhero type of thing where we don't do self-care, we don't do self-preservation. We will go to the bitter end for you and leave ourselves out because somehow we feel that we could handle it. But what it actually does, it kills us faster, right? Because it's impossible to be perfect and carry the world on your shoulders all day long, 24/7. It comes up with poor mental health, poor physical health, exposure to chronic diseases and health, health inequities. And so one of the things that I do as a Black woman for my Black woman sisters is we lift each other up and we empower one another to be our better selves. And how do we do that? We got to get in touch with the mind, the body, and the spirit, right? It's not do more for less. Like that's out. That's no longer a acceptable conversation in my world no more. It is like, let me do well and let me do good at the same time.
Right.
And it's interchangeable, but it is not one over the other because I cannot do good if I'm not doing well.
That's it.
And when we have the heart of a servant, the heart of a servant is something that the divine, the Lord, he bestows upon individuals. When you have a heart of a servant, you don't really seek things for self because you're doing for others. But because you are given that heart by the Lord, he makes sure you have everything that you need. So therefore, you're still not doing without, right? But when you're just trying to monopolize and capitalize on people's pain and suffering, and bartering off of our oppression and having these, trauma Olympics, who got hurt the worst, then there is no comeback from that where it's going to be the betterment of our people. So I think for the Black woman, I would just say, stand up. You are here. You are worthy and you deserve love. You deserve a hug. And ironically, we're so fierce, we're so bad, we're so amazing that there's all type of things that attack or try to attract us to get us diverted from our true purpose and our true power, because really we are that great together. Our synergy together, we can do anything we want to do. We have such brilliant minds. It's not even funny.
Right.
No matter what you throw at us, we're going to be able to overcome that and go ahead to the bitter end. But now what I'm really focusing on, for myself at this age and making sure that the legacy is left behind for the community is that we are owning our own assets. We are, tapping into building that generational wealth, and we will not sit here and go another 30 or 40 years still holding sounds talking about housing. No, we're going to start building our own affordable housing. So as you probably know, I built the Phoenix Square affordable housing complex, and I did that because I got pissed off because feedback is emotion. And emotion do fuel action. And I was mad because there was an 8-year waiting list for the housing authority. I'm like, what are my women waiting on? In 8 years, their kids will be ready for college. They need housing now. And, we keep asking a system who does not care that we're unhoused to house us. So it's like, okay, Lord, if he can tell Noah to build an ark, he can show me how to build a building. And that's how I went in there. And lo and behold, I'm an affordable housing developer because I chose to step my foot in there and start building.
Amen. And it's a huge achievement because it's not only that the system doesn't care, the system invented it, right? With things like redlining, with taking away the mortgages, taking away the business, pushing drugs into the communities. So what you're up against is such a giant. It's not just they don't care, it's that when you create positive action, you're trampling on their hard work.
And therein lies all the hate mail that I get. I got the center now. It's called the Bebop, Black and Brown Opportunity for Profit Center. And what happened was during the pandemic, we all was into a lot of seclusion and isolation. I had a lot of time to reflect. And the uprising around George Floyd, the social unrest, the discord, the yearning to continue to march, and I've been marching and holding signs for like 25 years, and it's like it's something else has got to happen, like not one more sign, Lord, like what is it? And he gave me the vision that we need to recreate the Black Wall Street. And I started delving into, okay, I've heard about it before, in passing. I never really did know contextual history or historical content or what does that mean, but I was able to go back and see that there was a time where we had what we needed and we did for self. Right. And then how that was always met with sinister, acts of defiance. I was able to look and see that we had banks and our bank's money was robbed and the FDIC didn't show up to secure our assets and holdings. And so every time you see us trying to build and take care of self, it was always met with some type of sinister act of defiance. And so God, recreate that. And so when he gave me the vision to recreate that, I was in the Bay Area, but I came from down here, and I was like, well, I don't know how we recreating that. Am I going to win the lottery? Like, where are we going with this, Lord? We know we need millions, right? And as soon as he gave me that vision, he gave me the provision. I was able to speak about the vision, and it manifested $7 million. And I was able to come down here to this Bay Area, take something old, knock it down, redo. We do a whole building. So we have a 10,000 square foot state-of-the-art entrepreneur hub that serves Black and brown women entrepreneurs. And sis, when I tell you that it's so beautiful, it's so vibrant. I mean, just imagine this. In the front of the building, it's a multicolored picture with fiery reds, cobalt blues, and oranges, and it's an indigenous woman's silhouette. And we know here on this land right here, this was the land of the Indians, and it was colonized. And so we pay homage to her that we're on her land. We ask the ancestors blessings to use the land to birth a community. And then as you walk down, it's 10,000 square feet, so it's a whole block long. So as you walk, you see all of the windows. I have Cleopatra, I have Nefertiti, I have Queen Isis, and you see all the Black queens in all the windows, right? On the inside, coming down the corridor. And then on the outside, up and down the street, we got holograms of Madam C.J. Walker, Oprah Winfrey, Dolores Huerta, a lot of community Black women pioneers who have, paved the way here in America. even though the path they took, people came behind and tried to destroy the legacy, and the path was taken, and history shall not forget their names. And so we have them coming through the window like holograms. And so when women walk in here, they feel a sense of pride and belonging because it is called the Black and Brown Opportunities for Profit Center, meaning this is for you.
I love that. I love that. I need to come visit you down there.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait for you to come. And the thing about it is, I never knew there were so many women entrepreneurs right here in the community who had ideas and who wanted to birth visions, but they was afraid of going into these systems where your stuff gets stolen. Somebody takes your idea, cut you out of a deal, or try to treat like you a chump where you can't even get your profit margin share. And so they come in here with a sense of safety. We have lawyers on site to help whenever they get any. We have these pitch days, they pitch their products, and the angel investors come in, and whenever they get somebody who's interested in their investing into their business for a small equity share, they have a lawyer that's for them to help make the best deal for them. They can understand what that means and what that looks like. So that's what we're really proud of right now. And who knows? Like, I see myself, at New York ringing that NASDAQ bell. I think we went public. I don't know what that business was about. I be trying to say, let me get back to my husband. I be trying to get on to my husband. That's all I need to do. He keeps giving me these visions. He keeps giving me things to do. So I just keep doing them, because there was a time where I couldn't do nothing, right? We all know my humble beginnings. I was a victim of the war on drugs. And so they came in with the batter rams and locked up thousands and thousands of Black and brown women for drugs, but for drugs that was brought in by our government. Hello.
Right.
For drugs that came in by our government, financed by none other than himself, Mr. Reagan, and his wife. He was just saying, just say no to drugs. Her husband was saying, yes, give me that money to fund this underground war. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of country that I came up in, right? And then we were all tatted with this scarlet letter of being formerly incarcerated. And then they had all these tough on war policies that, denied you housing, denied you welfare, denied your kids. Just a whole system of just abuse and torture. And so we've been slowly dismantling it, slowly by slowly. It needs to be abolished and reestablished. But, while we keep tinkering around the edge, tinkering, making new laws, we passed we passed like 30 or 40 pieces of legislation. Then we have to go around and make somebody police the government to follow the law the government just made. Always work.
I mean, you touched on something that I would like you to elaborate on, if you will. A topic that's too often ignored is that mass incarceration as a system of racialized social control, right, has, again, disproportionately affected Black women. And there's a double disadvantage that stops them from getting the support they need both within the system and then when they try to rebuild their lives outside of the system. So tell me about the work you do in that field.
So being a social justice advocate, I actually create housing and reentry programs for women coming home from incarceration. And we actually take them on a journey to self-sufficiency. And we allow them to get the therapeutic services they need so they can understand what happened to them is not them. Because a lot of us, believe it or not, in that system, we have several similarities. Single family home, not having a dad, being in a domestic violence relationships, drugs was just the after effect of what really happened from us being 7 and 8 and 9 years old, right?
And self-medication from the trauma.
Exactly. And so we heal from that. And we also establish a sense of self-worth and identity, because when you've been oppressed for a long time, you don't feel that you can actually reach for the stars. You don't feel you can actually go there because you haven't seen it in prior generations. You haven't seen it in your family. And we disconnect them from that, and we put them in a place where they're surrounded by success. They're surrounded by people who envision and manifest and make things happen. And then we let them stand on their own 2 feet. At the end of the day, we work with them, not for them, right? And so that's the journey of becoming self-realized and understanding you have a voice. The leadership development, the civic engagement, that's none other. We teach women how to take an idea, how to engage a policymaker, how to take it to Sacramento, how to get the bill passed, how to celebrate the victory, and how to have their voices heard at the city council meeting. Like we're not sitting in this community invisible. We're here. We're not going nowhere. Our kids are in those schools. We're gonna speak up at the board meeting. Like we got things to say. When we go to a parent-teacher conference, we used to have these like little cheat cards that we would prepare so mothers will have some questions to ask, because if they've never been to a parent-teacher conference, and when they're in it, they're feeling like they in school too. Hey, no, you're in there because your child is getting educated and you got some questions to ask and you got some responses to hear. So just empowering them to know that, we are the people who are supposed to control the government. We are the parents who have the kids in the school supposed to control the school board. Like the principal is low on the totem pole when it comes to the power structure of the educational system. And we get them to see how that all works. Who controls who controls what? Who's over what policy? Who's over what job? Who's over what area of our ecosystem? And in that knowledge, they come up with ideas and innovation, how they too can make a difference, right? And how everybody got to help make this world go round. We all pushing it. You know what I'm saying? We all pushing it to make it spin in the right direction for us.
Inspiring. You are an inspiration to so many people. I want to know who inspires you.
You know what? I'm inspired by seeing the transformation. To know that I was zero. Let me say this: zero, absent in mind, body, and spirit. I had no value. I had no life. I had no thought. My biggest dream was to get a hotel room or motel room with a bathroom in it. That's how far gone I was. I never had a dream about a house and none of that. Like I was just gone because I was just so torn and so ravaged. You see what I'm saying? Yes. And to come back from that, and to know that I could go to sleep tonight and have an idea and wake up in the morning and see how it's manifesting. That's new for me. So like that excites me. It excites me that I can think, like haven't been on crack, that I can still think. I can still plan. I can still strategize. Matter of fact, I can still help. My organization, Time for Change Foundation, we've helped over 327 children in foster care come back and reunite with their moms. Children who would have been sold off into, that world forever and a day had we not intervened with some services, had we not intervened with some housing and gave people a place to bring their kids back. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. So I read in your biography, the road was bumpy and it was filled with curves. How did you get through your worst times?
The little girl inside of me was not going to give up. The adult was done. The little girl was like, we ain't through yet. And so something about just not wanting to die just kept me alive long enough till I could get some help, because I couldn't see a way forward. I couldn't see a way out. I was in a big old black hole and I could not get myself out. I couldn't even see a ladder to get out. And there was nobody shining light down in that black hole. Because all of us lighters, all of us lights, we were all in the hole darkened. We were all in the hole. And it's not until I received that one little bit of therapeutic services that helped me see that I was not what happened to me, that the light in me was able to even start shining, because I couldn't even see that.
Right.
And then I look around, I see some of my sisters out here doing amazing work, and we all come from that black hole. But because we had we went back into the prison, we go back into the black hole and say, hey, but we go back in as a light, as a person who made it out. And now look, and the more, we get awards, and I know you probably know about, I have a book out called Waking Up to My Purpose.
Waking Up to My Purpose, yes.
Yeah. Here's my book.
Yes.
Purpose. And what I love about this book is that I was writing it actually during the COVID, but in the back of the book, I have color pages, and these are color pages of me being on the Jennifer Hudson show, and me being there on set with Taraji P. Henson and Jennifer Hudson, where she was actually playing me in the movie directed by Taraji P. Henson. And so these are things that I could never have dreamed for. I could never have said, God, you know what? I want the same woman who played Aretha Franklin to play me. I mean, come on now. Work that. No way. Matter of fact, I want Cookie from Empire to call me and ask me, can she direct a movie about me? Like, I don't get to ask God for those dreams, but he takes that mess, and he turns it into a message each time. I don't get to stand on no stage and wave my hand without you knowing that I'm formerly incarcerated. I have been homeless, but I am here today in my right mind. I'm here to make a difference. And here's what I'm going to do. And so this might either help me or get out the way. Either one.
Amen.
That's just where, I wind up at every time. So I look at it as a blessing from God.
So what is your motto as a community activist?
My motto will be: a lit candle loses nothing when it lights another.
I love that. That's a great motto.
Loses nothing. You can help people, and you're gonna still be okay. You can share what you've learned about this business development, how to get a grant, how to get money. It ain't taken from you. You can introduce people to funders who have funded you. Ain't taken
right.
Like you are not going to lose nothing. And if we can get in that mindset and leave the mindset of scarcity and go into the mindset of abundance, and to know that God owns all the banks, he owns all the money, he knows all the people with the checks, and he know how to get you a check, and he don't need your permission to get you no money. If you can walk in that, you're gonna be all right.
There's the African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yes.
And there's no room for competition in that vision, right?
Exactly. And you know what? I go in between those two because sometimes if I'm in these big collaborations and we've been talking about something for too long, I can't just keep talking about it. I gotta go make a move. And if I come back in a year or so and I've already done what I've been talking about, I need to do that on my own. You know what I'm saying? And I'll join back in the collective fight as well. But I can't. I'm not long-term planning. That's not me. I don't operate like that. I'm an activator. I'm gonna figure it out along the way.
Mm-hmm.
When I developed this bebop center, like I said, in the COVID, with materials being stuck on the ship, with contractors not having a job, people trying to jack the prices up, I built this in the most horrible time as far as in construction industry. But I know how to manage a budget really, really well. I know how to manage people really, really well. So I was able to work with that team and all the shenanigans to get to the end of this project to actually get this thing done. So where we're able to see, touch, and feel it. We're walking around in it right now. It's beautiful and it's secure. Now, that takes a skill set that comes from living 2 lifestyles in one lifetime, right? I do a bit of that street sense that I learned to be able to see people before they can see themselves. I go ahead and course correct them and get them on the right path so we go ahead and get the job done. You know what I'm saying? And then they know I don't play. So when it comes to me and this money and paying for this product, I'm not coming up short. My money's not going to be gone. You're going to sit there and tell me, oh, well, what happened was, no, you didn't get my money. I'm paying for services delivered, not services promises. Like, come on.
The activating activist.
And so it's just being able to navigate those rooms. And then, one of the things that I love about myself is that I will make a decision. Sometimes people just need to know that you can make a decision. People need leadership. It doesn't mean that decision is the final decision. It doesn't mean you have to come back and make another decision. But if you just sit there, y'all stay there stuck, I'm going to figure a way how to move forward, and that's the courageous part of me. And that's a little girl in me that always was like, we're going to keep going. That took me out of that hole and got me here today.
Yes. Okay. So what do you think if we could put the spotlight on a social injustice that's happening right now within your immediate community, where would we place it?
I would say what's happening right now, it would go into the economic injustice side of things. I'm sitting right here in the Inland Empire, and we have over 1 billion square feet of warehouse space that's been built over the last maybe 5 or 6 years.
1 billion.
Yeah, 1 billion square foot. They got warehouses next to houses, next to schools. Like, we're surrounded with big concrete boxes. Big concrete boxes. And when I think about a big concrete box, I think about a prison.
Right.
That's being concrete, right? And I watch people go in there in the morning at 6 o'clock. It'll still be a little dark outside before you go in. And you come out at night, it's dark again. And it's like you ain't saw the sunshine all day long. And yet the money that you make from being in that concrete box all day long will not afford you the opportunity to pay your whole rent in one time, your electric bill, and take care of your family and kids. That's
Right.
the social injustice. And to know that this stuff was built when we need to be building affordable housing. We need to be building low income housing that is affordable for people who are low income. We need to
Right.
be building, recreation center people for youth to have places they could go, and get mentored and coached and be in a safe environment. But yet and still, there was money to build these concrete boxes. And so it's like knowing the resources are there, but not diverted into the right direction is an injustice. And to know that the city allowed for that to happen and didn't carve out a piece of those dollars to
Right.
also housing, right? To say, okay, you want to come, just say for example, Amazon, you want to come and build your $1 billion distribution center here, and
Yes.
you're here because you're a major player in this logistics world. But can you slide off, $50 million so we can build some affordable housing? And I'll give you your break you need over here on this land that I'm letting you get on, right? Like it would have been an easy ask, but no one wants to ask for what's needed for the residents.
Right.
No, it's as if we don't help them, they will go away.
Okay.
Which is not happening.
No. That's a serious travesty that we need to be talking about and that deserves some attention.
Yeah, and then to be like right here. So we have a new airport within 2 miles from here now. We have three major highways. We have 3 major freeways. So we're like, right here in this web of things moving, transportation wise, trucks.
Yes.
We got train, plane, and all these warehouses. So we're right here with all the goods movement, but yet we're not benefiting nowhere near what should be benefited for the community for being here, all that, right?
Exactly. There should be growth manifesting as a direct result of that movement and activity.
Right. It's like being, in New York City and you're standing next to all of these fancy hotels, but you're out there on the street, sleeping on the sidewalk. But they steady building all the fancy hotels around you. Like none of that is benefiting the community and the community.
Right. So on a beyond your immediate community, what do you feel are the biggest issues affecting Black women today?
We run the gamut. We run the gamut on women's issues. Economics, housing, equal pay is still one of the major ones. Health, making sure our health is okay, making sure we're getting early detection for a lot of these communicable diseases and not dying from early, hypertension and stress, all the stress that you gotta, the higher you go up the ladder, the more stress you gotta deal with all those micro from all those patriarchal systems, this.
That really start at school and then carry through into practically every arena you step into as a Black woman. And then you come to find you hit your 40s and your kidney problem is connected to your intersections, your heart issues, your blood pressure. It's all connected to all of these millions of tiny, small situations and micro and macro aggressions, right? That we deal with every day that we're used to dealing with.
Exactly.
But shouldn't have to.
Yeah, and it's become the norm, which means that we're always tensed. We're so tense, we don't even know we tense. That's our normal.
Right. You're right. Our vocabulary is extended to talk about self-love, self-care, self-esteem. Those things weren't there before. So there is always some positive movement. We just have more work to do before we're leaping forward,
We have to create thriving communities. We have to recreate the Black Wall Street. I mean, like when we go to certain communities, they have a Chinatown. You ever heard a Chinatown, right?
Of course.
Okay, so I know when I go to Chinatown, I'm looking for some nice silk stuff. I know where I can expect to find as far as, nice garments. I love the robes with the dragons and all that. Like, I love that stuff. I love jade. I could get some nice gold. I mean, but when I go into Chinatown, I feel a sense of, I'm going to somewhere I could get a great deal. I can, get some good food. It never comes to my mind. Oh, why is there a Chinatown? Well, why do they have all this stuff wrote in Chinese letters? And why we can't have a store in Chinatown? I'm like, that's Chinatown. They just have that for themselves. I don't have a problem with that. As soon as we talk about having something for African Americans, the whole world gets in the uproar.
Right. All lives matter.
How dare you have a bebop center for Black and brown?
Right.
How dare you have an African American this or African American that? Hey, I ain't say you stay at the people in Chinatown.
Right. Right.
Go down to Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles. I can say we got a little Mexico right there by little Albizu village. I know I can go in there and get some food. Hey, they established it for themselves. So how come when it's time for us to establish for ourselves, we got to keep talking to y'all about it? Like I'm done with the conversation.
Right. Absolutely.
Get over yourself. We're here. We're not going nowhere.
And we're growing and we're thriving and we're a big, big number.
And here's the thing. We're so big that in this politician world, in this political game, I really want to see us come together and come together and hold the line. Like, I want to see us quit. Like, we've got to stop. We've got to start supporting one another.
Right. Right.
Period. We gotta hold the line, and we gotta not go for another one of these, like a better word, Joe Biden type people. Like, no. We need to hold the line. We ain't coming in with our forces. We're coming in for ourselves. Period.
Right.
At the end of the day, they can't say, well, if we don't get in there, what's going to happen? We've already experienced the worst, and we're still here.
Exactly.
A hard time is not, we're not strangers to a hard time. We'll be all right. But guess what we won't do? We won't allow that party to think that we're just going to go blindly and keep pushing for policies that don't improve our lives, that they do not resonate and major shifts right here in the community, on the streets, period.
We have to teach our young people that politics is everything and everything is politics, and they have to vote. That they have that power to change everything.
We got to give them something to vote for.
Right. That's it.
I'm getting real disillusioned with that political system, real disillusioned with it. I'm seeing women like ourselves get up in there, and one minute you was out here with us in the community, we need X, Y, and Z. You get up in there, now you're talking about more police. Like, I don't get it. Like, what happened to the community safety plan we had?
Right. So lastly, Kim, whenever I meet somebody who is accomplished, which I consider you to be, I have to ask.
Oh, thank you.
What are your success habits?
I read a lot. I question a lot. And I move forward a lot. I have no ego. So I have nothing to lose. Like when things are accomplished, they like, oh my God, they're so big. Well, I'm always trying big things. There's big things that I tried that didn't work, but I'm still gonna try the next thing. So at the end of the day, it looks like, oh, everything is so monumental, because I'm not trying to do little stuff. I'm always trying to do big stuff.
Right.
And so like if 3 out of 10 is successful, everybody looks at those 3, but I really tried 10 things.
Right.
But the 3 that did is like transformational in the whole community. It impacts thousands of people. You see what I'm saying? So
yes.
I just continue to try to make sure that while I'm sitting here in this skin on this earth, that when it's all said and done, I know I gave it my all. I know that I owe my community for the times that I was absent in mind, body, and spirit, right? So I know I need to give back. I need to give back in a way that lifts up. Right, I'm not going to go in the park and feed sandwiches, none of that. If I'm going to go in the park, I'm getting you out the park into housing. Period. We know you're homeless because you need a home. That's what it is. Not that you need a drug program, not that you need some counseling. No, you need a home. So I get that direct correlation, and so I would say that's one of the things too. I'm friendly, but people don't think I'm really friendly because they say I'm intimidating. But they say I'm intimidating. The thing about it is I really have zero tolerance for bullcrap.
Right.
Like, I'm not entertaining conversations. They have to convince you to do the right thing. I'm zero on that. I have
Right.
zero for any disrespect. I have zero for any microaggression, any oppression. I'm checking Karen on the spot. I'm checking Johnny on the spot, Bill and Tom on the spot, right then and there. I'm not gonna go home and think about it and let it fester in my system. I could have said, should have said. I'm saying it right then and
Right.
there. So when I walk away, I ain't thinking about you no more.
Right. Straight down the middle. Straight down the middle. It's the best way to go. Okay, this interview has been a real pleasure and a privilege for me. And I want to thank you for your time, because I know it's valuable. And I know you're out there moving mountains.
I'm trying.
And creating so much change. You're a true change maker.
But you know what? I appreciate you.